Who and how issues regulatory certificates? EPA, FDA, CE, ECHA. As a marketing and compliance agency, the Atomic is frequently contacted by product manufacturers and distributors with the same pressing question. In this video, we aim to provide a clear and concise answer to this question. Our goal is to help our audience to gain a better understanding of the regulatory certificate issuing process. We are confident that this video will be informative and beneficial to all who watch. Thank you for tuning in.
So you have an idea of the type of certifications and certification hurdles to look out for in different countries. But how exactly are these certifications issued? And most importantly, who issues them? What does the process look like? Certificates are not issued by factories themselves. Factories can only issue what is known as self-declarations of conformity, or certificates of analysis for chemical compounds, or research and development reports to prove their claims, or ISO certificates of their factories. It's important to note that these type of certifications are not actually evidence that the product is compliant with any product-specific regulations, but more that the factory declaring that in good faith and to the best of their knowledge, they believe that their product is up to the certain standard. On the other hand, the certificates which usually are evidence of compliance are those issued by accredited third-party laboratories or government agencies. Now, what do I mean by accredited? A lab which is accredited is a lab that is audited on a regular basis by an independent third party. The lab proves that it meets the management and technical system requirements of the standard that they test, and that the lab has the right equipment to perform these tests. For example, most of the labs we have worked with have the ISO 17025 accreditation. This accreditation enables laboratories to demonstrate that they operate competently and provide results which are valid. You may also hear laboratories mentioning the Good Laboratory Practices, or GLP. What this is essentially is a set of principles that assure the quality and integrity of non-clinical health and environmental safety studies. Examples of accredited labs like these are UL, TUV, and Intertek. So these labs can provide the necessary evidence that the product is free of restricted hazardous substances not allowed in the EU or in the US as per the RoHS directive. Let's look at an example. Our client would like to sell disinfectant wipes in the EU market. In the EU, a disinfectant of this nature is classified as a biocide. This particular biocide is not intended for human use and is therefore called product type 2 or PT2 biocide. There are two factors to consider with a product of this nature. 1. Is this product effective? Does it work? And 2. Is this product safe for the users? Their factory offers them a self-declaration, but that's not enough because they're trying to sell the product in a country with strict regulations. So the client comes to us and we research the regulations around that particular PT2 product. Once we're all on the same page and understand what standards and directives apply, my team and I start sourcing the lab services of an accredited laboratory which can test the product and certify it in the shortest amount of time. So, the lab needs to have a particular accreditation and the test needs to be done under this standard. In the example of the air purification device, the test needs a lab that is at least ISO 17025 accredited, and the efficacy testing needs to be done under the EN 17272, which tests against certain types of viruses, bacteria, and yeast. Additional tests like for coronavirus or H1N1 would not be necessary for the efficacy testing requirements, but would be a requirement if the marketing material claims the product protects against these specific viruses. During the period of testing, my team would monitor the project and provide updates to the client on how the project is going. And once the testing is complete, the lab results get sent to us. If the product passes the necessary tests, The lab issues a certificate stating that the product complies to the standard. In this case, the certificate can be submitted to the government authorities and the product will be classified as safe and effective in that particular country. If it does not pass the necessary tests, the client contacts the supplier and we discuss how to change the product so that it can achieve compliance. So this is just an example of how a third-party laboratory issues a certificate of conformity. Doesn't sound too complicated, right? But remember, this is the certification process for one regulation within one market, the EU. It definitely becomes more complicated the more certificates you need and the more countries you want to export to. But don't stress, that's why I'm here, to guide you. Let's move on to the next lesson.